Hi, it's George at Fun Flies. Today we're going to be tying a Mr. Rapidan.
So what I'm going to be using is some brown hackle here. I got a yellow dyed calf tail. I got some yellow dubbing, a little gray thrown in there. We'll mixture a couple different colors in there. Some brown thread, number 12 dry fly hook. I've already wrapped it a little bit behind the eye and stopped a little bit past the gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take some deer hair. Okay, I'm going to take off a little clump. This is just going to be for the tail. So I want to take off not too much, just like that. We only want it coming about the length of the body off the hook. So I want to trim it back here. That should do it right there. Try and get the arch. This is a nice loose wrap to keep it on top so it doesn't start flaring all up. Okay, and we'll tighten it down. And do your best to keep it on top, but if it wraps around a little bit, that's okay. All right. And keep it nice and clean. Trim some of this off. Okay, now before we do the dubbing of the body, what we want to do is, because we're going to build some mass up here, we're going to use the tail, or we're going to use the yellow for the wing. So what I like to do is take off a clump here. I'm going to take off about that much. Now the tricky part to this is getting it to stay on top. So what I want to do is I want to get an idea how high my wing is going to be, and that's roughly about the body too. So we're going to be using about that right there. So what you want to do is when I tie it in, don't take your fingers off of it. And give it a couple good wraps. And then you could go a little bit tighter as you get back. Takes a little practice, and then you're going to hold the calf tail up, snip it on the angle. Okay, because what we're doing is we're kind of tapering it down, and this is going to be the mass of the body. And we got it on top nice, and then dam it up a little bit here, making sure that the tail's staying on top. Work it back through, and if you do it right, you should have a nice tapered body. Okay, so what I'm not doing right now is I'm not too worried about standing this up right now. That's right where I want it. Not a little bit closer than halfway, maybe about a third way down. So I'm going to bring this all the way back to the tail. And let this unwind, and while that's unwinding, I'm going to get ready to do some dubbing. So now for the dubbing here, nice and thin dubbing. You know, don't go too overboard on it. And what I like to do is, while this is unwrapping, is I'm working the dubbing, kind of flattening it out. And I see a lot of people just twist it on there real heavy and throw it all in there, and because we already have a lot of the mass that's done. Okay, so I'm going to take a needle. I'm going to split the thread. And if you can't split the thread, it's too thin or whatever, just do a dubbing loop, it's fine. There we go. Sometimes it takes a couple tries. Okay, we're going to lay the dubbing up there pretty close. So we're going to lay it nice and flat. I'm going to close it, turn it, and just spin it. Now we're not going to spin it all the way down and wrap it all the way down because we're going to pull some of this dubbing off of here. So once it starts to get wrapped on there nice and tight, what I'll do is I'll pull it forward a little bit. And starting at the top, I'm just kind of pulling some of this off. Don't need all of it. And if you pull, you can actually kind of tighten it as you pull it. That's about where I want it, right there. Okay, so here I'm going to take the dubbing and starting at the very back, working my way right to where I'm going to put the wing in, right to there. Now you could take this and pull it all the way forward, as far forward as you can. Don't do too many, just enough to dam it up there, start catching it. You don't have to get it straight up and down just yet. What I'm doing is I'm using up this the spun. I'm using up the spun, so we'll give it a minute to unwrap. So while it's unwrapping, I'm going to take a long piece of hackle. You don't want to oversize the hackle, but you can get it up there about the size of the length of the wing. Okay, and what I like to do with the hackle is I'm going to come about here to where I start. Okay, when I tie this in, just trimming it back, so it's like that, so it gives it something to catch on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it back. Now making sure the angles follow on the back of the fly. Okay, and I'm going to catch it on my first wrap. I'm just going to pull this guy back, and I'm going to go right at the base of it, right here, just one wrap. And the reason just one to hold it, so I can trim it off the eye. And I'm going to wrap it a couple times. And what I found by doing this, and now you dam it up some more, is I'm adding reinforcing, holding this feather in place. Okay, so now it's standing straight up. I'm going to come back here, just a couple wraps behind it, and then over here. So take this back over, get all these threads off the eye. Perfect. Okay, so what I like to do is I'm not even going to use the pliers. It's long enough. I like this long hackle right here, so I'm just going to do it by hand and try and get at least 4 wraps before the feather, 3 or 4 wraps after the feather, or after the calf tail. So there's 4 before. Now what you want to do is pull this back and go as close to the tail as you can on an angle. Pull it back, close to the tail. So I'm trying to keep everything as much as I can off the eye. And give it one more to it. Okay, so we're going to hold that in place. We're going to lock it down with the thread. Okay. Trim it off. And one of the things I always like to do is wet the finger a little bit, pull it back, wet, pull back, as I form the head, keeping the eye clean. And go sparingly. Don't try and, put a ton of thread on here. We don't need it. It's all held in there nice now. So we're just gonna whip finish. And you can build a little more of the head with the whip. Make sure those doesn't catch any hairs. Snap it off. Okay, then what I like to do is flip it upside down. Take some head cement. Flip it upside down so I keep the head cement out of the eye for the first part. I could put like 2 drops and it'll wrap around. And flip it over. And just do 1 on the top. Dress it up a little. And there we have an irresistible. Okay, I want to thank you for watching. This is George at Fun with Flies. Hope you're having a good season, and I'll see you on the next video.